Ladies and lads, today a different video as I'll be talking about animes. On this channel, I already told you I like video games, cars, and animes. And for those of you maybe are new or forgot, the entire purpose of this channel is documenting my journey towards accomplishing whatever God wants me to do for Him on this planet. And in my case, I believe He wants me to open an anime studio. At least is the furthest point that He has shown me so far. And if you want details about that, just watch this video, which is the first video that I've uploaded on this channel. It tells you everything about all of that. What I want to touch on in this video, because later on I plan on talking more about animes, and in order for people to understand where I'm coming from, I want to explain what I look forward to when I'm watching an anime and what I want people to see in whatever production will come out of my future studio or whatever I'm involved with. So in this video, I'll be touching upon the story elements and some of the technical things that I want to see, what I'm looking at when I'm watching animes. And in my next video, I want to talk about my personal rating system. And after that, I'll be able to talk about animes, and hopefully people will understand where I'm coming from with that. Let's get a few things out of the way, because the points that I really want to emphasize on are the things that I personally like to see in animes. Everything involving the characters, their development, the world building, all the twist and turn in terms of plot thread, all of that. Of course, I want those to be good. So that is a given. I'm not gonna talk too much about that. That's a given to me. So let's begin with the creative aspect, creative side, as I feel it is the core of any story. Whatever story you're trying to tell, I believe it needs to be not only interesting, but also meaningful. I want people to really stick with maybe the message of the story, the themes. I just don't want it to be entertainment only. I want people to get something out of it, something that will be timeless, something they can revisit again and again in different perspectives. That message needs to be the centerpiece, and everything else, so the characters, the settings, the word, all these different tools are only used to tell that story better or to relay that message even better. That's what I believe. Next is what I'll say, I can't even say this, layers. I want my story to have layers. In my favorite animes, and I'll talk about it a little bit more when I talk about my rating system, the ones that are at the highest tier, I can go back and rewatch those animes again and again and again. We experience those animes only focusing on one thing when I watch the anime and still get something out of it. I want it to be layered enough. A good amount of people will be able to experience it the way they want. If you want something easy, just to entertain yourself, you get that. If you want to go all deep, elite viewer only, you'll also be able to do that. So that's what I want in terms of layers. Something I'm really proud of for myself is that when I watch an anime or movie, whatever it is, I don't get attached to the characters. I only focus on what is this thing trying to do. And remember, since I am going to be in charge, or I'm seeing this as my future work, I'm not necessarily watching all of these animes or movies only from the point of view of entertainment or a viewer. I see it also as, okay, the eyes of a future director. So to me, I try my best not to get attached, and I actually don't. I don't really get attached to characters. If a character I like, and I do like some characters more than others, if a character I like dies, I'm not necessarily going to be mad. What I'm thinking is, okay, this character dies. Does this align with whatever the story is trying to tell? What does this do in the grand scheme of things? I don't look at it at, oh my lord, this anime sucks, this story sucks, I hate it because my favorite character died. No, I could care less. I am all for the service of the story. If that really bring up your story, I am all for it. And I also like to be surprised. When you watch all these different kind of story, unconsciously, when you watch an anime, your brain goes, okay, this is the path they can go, this is the path they can go. Next scene can be done this way. This is what this character could say in this scene to make it better. All these things go through my mind. So it's always like surprising and refreshing when things don't go the way I imagine they will go. Last thing about story. Whatever story I come up with, I deliver. Let's say it is a movie, a 3-part movie. When the first one is released, I want to basically have the entire 3 movies already written, set in stone, everything planned. Not only that, when the 3rd movie comes out, I want that story to conclude. So from movie 1 to movie 3, the entire story is set. It's set in stone, and that is it. Meaning, there are not going to be anything in between before or after. Sometimes you see these animes, TV shows, or movies, they come out, movie 1, movie 2, movie 3. And then, after movie 3, when they see that the series is successful, they say, oh, there is a part before part 1, part 0, part 1.5, part 2.5. I despise that. What I want is, when I create a story, I have the beginning and the end. Whenever that end comes, that is it. I'm moving on to another story. There is not going to be alternate universe. It's not going to be prequel, whatever. None of that. I hate that. I do not want to see that. Another aspect that is extremely important to me is the immersion. When I personally watch an anime, I like to really completely immerse myself in whatever word is created for me through that anime or that piece of media or fiction. Whatever you show or present to your audience, it needs to be believable. The moment some of the elements are off, that is where the immersion is broken. For example, some plot holes here and there, plot armors that completely breaks the immersion, conveniences. They can be conveniences, and to be fair, there are many amazing stories out there where you can clearly tell that, hey, here is a little bit too convenient, right? But it is not in your face. It is fairly subtle, right? That is still fine. But what I do not want is for that immersion to break because of those elements. The way I can summarize this in the simplest way possible is, I just want things to make sense. It is that simple. Now let's talk about the technical aspects of things when it comes to animes. Animation, sound effects, voice acting. Of course, you want all those things to be at least somewhat decent, right? And that is my goal. But there are some elements that I feel are not necessarily talked about enough. And one of those is the consistency with the drawings and the animation quality from episode to episode. It was way more apparent in the old school animes. You could clearly see the difference between the drawings. It was so bad. Nowadays, most studios are fairly good at leveling the differences. And also it depends on what kind of anime it is, if it is action based or if it is a slice of life. Slice of life usually are pretty good because you don't necessarily have that much, but yeah, consistency in drawing and quality animation is something I want in my future animes or future movies. The other important aspects when it comes to the technicalities, I feel, is how tight, how focused are each scene and each episodes. Let's say you have a 3-season of 20, not even, let's say 12 episodes each for a series. Ideally, you do not want to have an episode that basically when you rewatch anime, you want to skip. You do not want that. And I personally don't want that in my production. Every episode needs to count. Every scene needs to count. And you want that experience to be consistent. And that really helps with the immersion that I was talking about earlier. It'll be easy for you to watch it and rewatch it if the story is interesting and if you have different layers. All of those combined makes your anime mwah. And that is basically it. What I share in this video is what I know and what I've noticed so far. But I still want to be able to learn and add more into it. So if you have any sort of tips or any things that you think are worthwhile sharing, please do in the comments. That'll be much appreciated. Also, now since I've said all of this, I can move on to my personal rating system, and after that we can talk about animes all we want.